Hello there, my favorite people, and welcome back to the channel. I am so glad to have you with me again. How are you this evening, my delicious darlings? I am doing well. I have been researching myths surrounding the turning of the year. For now, however, I am still focused on animal myths. Last week, I asked how you felt about the animal-centered poems we have enjoyed over the previous couple of episodes. The general consensus was that the series could bear one more installment. So, today, we will deal with the lion, the serpent, the panda, and the reindeer. Today's poems are a little longer than usual. There was simply so much magic to fit in, which is why I have restricted myself to 4. I hope you enjoy them, and I look forward to hearing your opinions and reactions in the comments. Let us begin. Daniel's lion. I sit barefoot, alone in the lion's den. My aching spine presses the cold stone wall. My legs had been scraped during my quick descent. In arriving, I'd taken a big fall. As the full pride, their gold, muscled flanks gleaming, had surged forward to quench their appetite. I'd screamed, but they had drawn back, their eyes gleaming. A small brown earthen lamp provides my light. On the floor beside me, the little lamp sits. Its wick sends looming shadows around the place. I wonder if the king truly is wakeful. At our parting, he'd promised he would pace until he knew if his Daniel, that's my name, had survived his sojourn with the wild beasts. The words had touched me despite my great terror, knowing the king would mourn my death at least. But is the old man still in his apartment, laying down on silk and satin his head, perhaps shedding a tear of shame or distress, regretting all that he'd recently said? I can't know, but I still whisper a low prayer to God above to guard the misled king and all the other people in the kingdom, even if I am soon the one dying. Oh, wait, I should explain just how I got here. I was a little boy, barely a child, when a warrior king conquered my people and snatched up seers and students meek and mild to carry them away far from their homeland and serve him back in his central city. I was one of those who left his home weeping, yet carried the love of my God with me. We were not mistreated, not quite used like slaves, but it was hard to hold on to the rules and traditions we'd brought from Jerusalem when the courtiers sneered at us as fools. But still, we sustained our beliefs, and in time, the king himself came to respect our minds. And as I worked for him, I soon understood this dread lord of the nations could be kind. Soon, I had new robes and chambers of my own. I could have had myself a pretty bride, but I refused when lovely ones were offered, for I wished my kin to be blessed inside the holy temple back in Jerusalem. Still, I could have in my life been happy if cruel ones, jealous of my current credit with the king, hadn't tried to destroy me. The story's long, but I'll try to shorten it. My enemies massaged the old king's pride, telling him that he should, like God, be worshipped, and that any who refused it should die. Many complied. Indeed, they thought it easy, just another way to coddle rich men. But I could not. Only God would I worship. So, down into the dreadful lion's den was I sentenced to go. No one could stop it, not even the king, who had made the law, without thinking it could cause him misery or force acts that he would, in time, deplore. I look up as a brave lioness darts close, but stays beyond the reach of the lamplight. I guess that I have 10 minutes at the most before I'll feel a lion's fatal bite. I find myself talking to the huge creatures. I stay strong, although my voice is queasy. I know this is your home, and I'm intruding. You've every right to make an end of me. Perhaps your eyes are attuned to the darkness, and that's why you avoid candles and wicks. I'll leave this world while offering a blessing, if you'll only make my last moments quick. Not that I have forgotten my great God. He's fully able to now succor me and pluck me from this place direct to the light. But I'll submit to all his plans for me. At that moment, the lamp flickers and then dies. I close my eyes, breathe slowly, and I wait. The lions leap, but before their claws strike home, something occurs that overturns my fate. The pride is intercepted by a gorgeous and gleaming male who lies upon my feet. I wait in terror as the immense lion glares at the others until they retreat. I think for sure the strongest male has claimed me, but the lion only looks down at me, touching his gentle nose to my hot forehead, as if in soft benediction to me. Trembling, I reach out to touch the beast's side. It twitches, but he doesn't strike at me. Are you here for your dinner, or did God ask you to appear? Sign if you will help me. What do I expect? I'm nearly mad, I don't know. I freeze before the lion's toothy grin. I am praying that God receive my poor soul. When the great lion speaks, voice rumbling. Greetings, oh man, he says. I will protect you this long night through if you stay close to me. I will move off your legs if you request it. Only promise you will not flee from me. That I can promise you, I tell him gladly. The lion moves but sets himself before my body. He's a bulwark I can cling to. You're safe, the lion says. Lie on the floor. If you would sleep, cuddle my side to find warmth. I'll watch over you as if you were one of my own cubs. The Lord numbers your hairs and has set me here to protect each one. I will be with you here throughout the long night. Not until dawn will my task be ended. Strangely, as he spoke, a deep fatigue clutched me. In moments, I could barely lift my head. I tried to argue that I could never sleep. With death and dismemberment so nearby, I was a man, but even the bravest men could not dream gladly with there and nearby. The words were in my mind, but my tongue stayed still. I obeyed the great lion's words instead. It seemed that, as I dreamed, the lion spoke more. But this time, the words rang inside my head. I am the being hailed as the forest's king. But my kin live upon a grassy plain, and on the cold height of the snowy mountains. You'll find my paw prints in stone, mud, and rain. I'm known the wild world over by countless names. Some men accuse me of plain villainy, perhaps because of the Nemean lion that tormented the poor Greek villagery, until such time as great Hercules himself was dispatched by the gods to destroy him. Yet I am not the one that, when a child cries, will turn aside and not seek to help them. In the great and mighty Ottoman Empire, the Padishah and his sons took my name. Only they were allowed to be called Aslan. To be called lion underlined their claim to riches, power, and near endless beauty. Aslan was I in quite another place. In Narnia, I was the creator's son, and answered men's calls regardless of race. I loaned my name to a knight of King Arthur. He did me proud. He was noble and fair, rode far and wide seeking to help the helpless. He never failed to spend his time in prayer. I'm the guardian of estates and temples, the forerunner of men and monarchies. But for tonight, I am just your guardian. Your safety now means everything to me. I'll stay until dawn. Then I'll be called elsewhere, and all will be just as it was before. I came here to succor you, sent by your God. But see that you are standing by the door. When the night ends, the king waits to receive you. He's walked his palace floors the entire night. Hug him, then warn him not to test your great God. In the future, and all will be all right. I was awake when dawn crested the great walls. In a heartbeat, the door was opened wide, and there was the king, his once pale face glowing, hugging me. I knew you would be all right. I glanced back just once into the lion's den. I was amazed to see an angel bright, with copper wings and eyes gold as the lion's, who nodded once before he took to flight. The Serpent. The python suns himself in the back garden, half of his jade length in the paddling pool. A satisfied smile curls his descriptive lips at the warm day and the embracing cool. Today, he needs no guile and will tempt no one. A feast freshly prepared waits beyond him. He is a friend to the 4 humans who wait for the evening to take him home again. The Reindeer. You've heard the legend of the shining reindeer, how they're entrusted with a certain sleigh and carry it through the gleaming winter sky in time to drop off toys for Christmas Day. But does the reindeer breed have an origin? How did they come to walk the wintry world? How did they come to bear their wide-spreading horns that help them soar to help the boys and girls? In some cultures, it's said in the beginning, there wasn't a planet called Earth at all. Only the sun, the starlight, and the moonshine. The reindeer, the myth tells us, made it all. The reindeer's spreading veins became Earth's rivers. Its spreading fur became its forests green. Its antlers were the soaring range of mountains. Its hooves the circled coves of the blue sea. In the cairngorms there are found pure white reindeer, reputed to be full of gentle grace. They're fortunate if captured by a clansman. Luck and good fortune surround his home place. In Scotland, reindeer are called fairy cattle. The fairy queen and her daughters ride them. Sometimes, they even pull Oberon's carriage when he goes hunting with his strongest men. In Ireland, a young princess, fair and lovely, would sneak out of her castle late at night and take the form of a silver-tipped reindeer that danced and frolicked in the pale moonlight. In Arthur's realm, fleet-foot deer, white as samite, would appear near Camelot night and day. The knights knew they'd never catch them, however. They followed and were themselves led away to stranger lands and exotic adventures. And even when danger surrounded them, the reindeer would be their aides and assistants, ensuring the knights returned home again. So, the reindeer are part of the universe, with magic of creation in their veins, and have been so since long before a broad saint steered their noble heads and hearts with belled reins. The Panda. In Tibet, it's said that the stately panda, an object of reverence and delight, did not at first possess its night dark markings. Instead, like the mountain snow, it was white. At that time, in the same Tibetan region, 3 gentle shepherdesses tended herds of slow-eyed antelope who cropped the meadows. Perhaps it was intended that the bears and the sweet ladies with their pleading voices should be friends, gentle, patient, wise, and fair. The women knew that the pandas would never threaten their herds. The 2 groups would meet there. In the high meadows, the pandas would gambol, while the girls played and sang and braided hair. When pandas tired, they'd sit beside the women, who'd caress them as they lay resting there. Sometimes, the girls would picnic in the high fields, while the pandas chewed on sticks of bamboo. It was an idyll, almost a paradise. Sadly, there was nothing the girls could do to stretch it out. Fate turns. It cannot be stopped. One day, while cheerful shepherdesses played with a batch of cubs born in early summer, they heard a sound that made them all afraid. Before they had a moment to move or think, the sound came again, a rough screaming yell. It was the sound of a mountain cat hunting. They froze in place, and the foul creature fell upon the place. The 3 women put themselves between the young cubs and the dreadful thing. They tried to fight, but without staff or weapon, they had no chance. Valleys filled with screaming. By the time the adult pandas reached their side, they had time just to sweep their cubs away. But the ladies had perished in agony. All that was left of them was bloody clay, and the eldest, barely holding on to life, Her mortal threads stretched appallingly tight. The pandas carried her safe down the mountain, but she expired despite their tears and strife. 3 days later, the people of the village gathered to lay the fair damsels to rest. A crowd had gathered, each one of them weeping. Even the leaves on the trees sagged depressed. The pandas, too, stood tall amongst the humans. They sought a way to express worlds of grief. Around their arms, they tied armbands of black cloth. Now, they dug down to the black soil beneath. The heavy snowfall, scooping it in their paws. They smeared the mud around their hurting eyes, that never more would see the merry daughters. A pair of black ears finished the disguise. In that aspect, the pandas said their prayers and watched the fair defenders laid in earth. After that, for a year and 1 complete day, since the women had been tucked up in earth, the pandas gladly wore their marks of mourning. Their blackened ears and eyes they showed with pride. Alas, when at last they washed, the marks remained. They would not shift. The pandas' fur was dyed. Not only that, when new families were born, the infants, too, were marked with black armbands. Their parents found the new sigils delightful and cuddled them close with welcoming hands. Thus, ever after would the panda carry the marks of duty and of gratefulness. Let us hold it a thing much to their credit, and should we see them, their gentle hearts bless. Subscribe to become a delicious darling. Well, my decadent darlings, how did you like today's episode? Have you heard any of the myths we covered before? I love to think that, even thousands of years before today, people were looking at the world around them and the stars above them and telling each other stories about how it all began. It makes me feel like we have a connection to them, a ribbon formed of words that stretches back through time and connects us mind to mind and heart to heart. It's almost like time travel, don't you think? If you made it all the way through the episode, please write a word in the comments. Today's word is bear. If you are new to the channel or have yet to do so, it would mean a lot to me if you clicked on the subscribe and notification buttons or the follow button. That way, you will be notified of all new episodes when they appear. And, of course, by doing so, you will become an official delicious darling. Right, I am going to bid you goodbye for the evening. I will spend the night curled up on the couch before the fire reading a new book. I will see you all next week with more poems about magic, mystery, and miracles. For tonight, do take some time for yourselves. Read a book, watch a film, draw a picture, or do anything that makes your soul shine. Until next time, sleep well, my delicious darlings.